Have you ever had the feeling that something about the world changed after 2020? Not just events, but the feeling of everyday life. People seem more exhausted. Conversations feel heavier. And strangely, nothing surprises us the way it used to. Major events happen constantly, and yet people react less and less. It almost feels like the world started moving at a different pace. Some people even describe it as if we somehow slipped into another timeline. But what if the explanation is much simpler? What if the world didn't change dimension? But what if the speed of the world changed? What many people are sensing today actually has a name. Sociologists call it social acceleration. The idea is simple. As technology becomes faster, the systems around us begin to move faster too. Communication becomes instant. Information travels globally in seconds. Data processing speeds increase exponentially, and new technologies appear faster than ever before. Decades ago, major technological shifts could take generations. Today, entire industries can transform within a few years. Work was restructured. One of the most visible shifts happened in how people work. Before 2020, remote work existed, but it was limited. Then suddenly millions of people moved their jobs online. Platforms like Zoom and Slack became essential almost overnight. What began as a temporary solution slowly turned into a new normal. The assumption that work must happen in a physical office started fading, and once that assumption broke, the structure of work began evolving. Even futurist Alvin Toffler described something similar in his book, Future Shock. He argued that when change happens too quickly, people begin to experience psychological stress from the pace of transformation itself, not because the world is collapsing, but because the rate of change becomes overwhelming. But something interesting happens when technology speeds things up. You might expect that faster tools would give people more free time, yet the opposite seems to happen. People feel like they have less time than ever before. Why? Because when things become faster, we simply try to do more things. Faster communication leads to more messages. Faster transportation leads to more travel. Faster information leads to more content. Instead of slowing life down, speed creates more activity, and that creates a strange cycle. Technology speeds up processes. Society adapts to that speed. People try to keep up with the new pace. Life begins to feel rushed. So new technologies are developed to help manage that speed, and the cycle repeats. Over time, the entire structure of daily life begins to move faster. You can actually see this shift in everyday experience. Think about how the world used to react to major events. A big news story could dominate conversations for weeks. People would talk about it at work, at home, with friends. It felt like society had time to process things. But now, something different happens. A major event appears. It trends for a few days, and then it disappears into the background. Another story replaces it, then another, and then another. Slowly, people stop reacting with the same level of surprise. Not because they don't care, but because the speed of events has increased so much that our emotional response can't keep up. After a while, people begin living in a constant state of anticipation, almost like everyone is standing slightly on edge, when you're always expecting the next disruption, the next crisis, the next big shift. Nothing feels shocking anymore. It just feels like the next thing. And this constant acceleration doesn't only affect technology or news, it affects human psychology. Human psychology itself began shifting. People started talking more openly about emotions, about mental health, identity, purpose. Conversations that once happened privately became part of public culture. People experience more stimulation than ever before. More information, more opinions, more comparisons, more emotional signals from thousands of different sources. At the same time, social structures are changing faster than they used to. Careers shift more often. Cultural norms evolve more quickly. Family dynamics continue adapting to new economic and technological realities. The pace of life itself becomes unstable. Not necessarily worse, not necessarily better, just faster. And when the pace of life accelerates beyond what people are used to, the world can start to feel unfamiliar, even if the physical world hasn't changed very much. So maybe the world didn't slip into another dimension after 2020. Maybe the world didn't suddenly become more chaotic. Maybe we're simply living through a moment where many systems are shifting at once. Moments like these rarely announce themselves while they're happening. Most people only recognize them years later, when the pattern finally becomes clear.